Hello, you are listening to another episode of the podcast Rise and Tell with Sheekha. You know how we've always taken our physical health and our ability to do certain things for granted? Well, today's guest will make you rethink that. Every time you pick up a glass, or you're watching TV, or scrolling on your phone, or going to the gym, being able to walk, run, sprint, skip, you never think of how life would be if you didn't have the ability to do one of those things, right? Because we take it for granted so much. Our guest today is Kijuan Amey, a 33-year-old motivational speaker, author, and the CEO of Amey Motivation. Kijuan used to work for the US Air Force, and in 2017, on the 5th of May, he was involved in a motorcycle accident that caused him to lose his eyesight. But that wasn't the end for him. Kijuan lost his vision, but now has a powerful story to tell and inspires thousands across the world with his story. He once saw the light at the end of the tunnel and rose out of his circumstances and situations. Kiwan has a lot of talents, and since he was young, he was into acting, he had his own business, he was into photography, music, and he doesn't want to stop. The wonderful thing about Kiwan is that he has a lot of plans. And my most favorite line from the entire episode is the fact that Kiwan Amey knows he's going to make it big. So let's not waste any time and let's get to know Kiwan a little bit more. There you go, everybody. Today we have with us Kijuan Amey. Welcome, Kijuan. How are you today?
Hello, Sheekha. I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. Thank you for asking. How's your Sunday been so far?
Actually, my Sunday's been pretty good. Got to go to church and fellowship. I'm also a musician. As you can see behind me from my camera, I have drums, but also piano. I've been playing drums since I was 7 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm 33 now. So I've been playing for a little over 26 years now, and I still play the drums till today. So I do play at my church.
Nice.
And the keyboard, I just started learning that in 2020 during the pandemic. So I got bored. And the other side of my musicianship came out, and I'm also a singer. So I do that as well. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. But my Sunday it's been pretty good. It's trying to make it through this Sunday because I've also not only played the drums today, but I've had now 2 podcast interviews.
Wow, that's awesome. That's interesting. Okay, and I think our listeners are dying to know a little bit more about you and how you're managing all these things. So I will let you share with us how has your journey been so far and what's your story?
Yeah, so would you like me to start from where I am now or take it back? Like where you want to go?
Anything that you want to tell us.
Absolutely. So we can go back to, me basically getting to go to the United States Air Force because I would do that out of high school. Initially, wanting to go to college. I did want to go to college for either computer or software engineering. And here in North Carolina, which is where I am, and I also was born and raised in Durham, North Carolina, the best schools for that are North Carolina State University and North Carolina Agriculture and Technical University. I had some admission hiccups.
Okay.
And so life was trying to throw me a curveball and to see whether I could hit it or not.
Right.
And I think I hit it out of the park. And the reason I say that is because not only did I pivot and go to the United States Air Force, but I had a job of a lifetime. Like it was an amazing dream type job. And when I say dream job, I don't mean like it was the best, no wrinkles, like you get paid a lot. No, it wasn't that. It was something you would never imagine. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yes.
So this job that I would do in the United States Air Force was in-flight refueling specialist.
Ooh, sounds fun.
Yeah. So this is where you would refuel airplanes in midair.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you
So
do that?
Yeah, so just think of, pulling up to a gas station on the ground. You go pull up to the pump, put all your money in, blah, blah, blah. You put the nozzle in your car,
Right.
put the gas in, put the nozzle away. Cool, right?
Yeah.
Well, just imagine pulling up to a flying gas station
Ooh.
that's waiting on you to show up.
Wow.
I've already coordinated with you on the ground
Right.
to meet up in a designated spot in the sky to give you a certain amount of gas that you
Okay.
will be paying for. Yeah, yeah. So my squadron would basically charge their squadron for the gas that was offloaded.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it.
So yeah, so it's so cool. I mean, gosh, and it's so many different wheels that are turning. I
Right.
mean, I simplified it for the conversation here. But if I were to expand it, you all would probably just be like, what is he talking about?
Exactly.
Because there's so much to it. It's a lot of moving parts, to say the least. But we've been doing it for so long, we've simplified it and made it somewhat seamless. You know what I mean? So, me being in the Air Force, I was actually in 10 years, 3 months, and 17 days, but I'm not counting. That was just what was on the paper.
Got it.
My accident that I had, which was a motorcycle accident, would only have me doing that job for about 6.5 years.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I even mention it, how long I was in. But while I was in, I would, maintain the rank of E5 in the Air Force, that is equivalent to a staff sergeant. And so I would become a non-commissioned officer.
Okay.
And then not only that, I would also become an instructor boom operator, which is the same thing, just a shortened version of in-flight refueling specialist. And if you want to go even shorter, they say boom.
Okay.
So
Easy.
that's what we like to do in the military. We like to shorten everything.
Right.
If
Right.
it's not a shortened name, it's an acronym. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But as I move forward here, yeah, I would do all of that at, be stationed, shall I say, at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in Goldsboro, North Carolina. And so a lot of people always ask me, wait, you joined the Air Force to stay in North Carolina?
Right.
And I was like, you don't know my job. It's okay. It's okay. I will be flying all over the world. I went to 4 different continents, and you think I'm just going to stay in North Carolina all the time? I was going at least half the year. Every year, I'm going at least half the year. And so when I would hear people say stuff like that, I'm like, it's okay. You just don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
My first year after I got out of school, 4 of the months after that first year was spent on deployment.
Ooh,
Yeah. So that's already 120 days right there.
exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just deployment. That doesn't count the other trips that we take.
Right. Right.
And so, but moving forward, I would do 4 years active duty
Okay.
at Seymour Johnson, but I would also stay at Seymour Johnson and do the reserve side. I loved my job, but I did not like the active duty side of it. Active duty was kind of burning you out. Like we were always constantly going,
Right.
I'm gone. I was already gone the first year that I was in, and now I'm gone again to deployments. The second year. I was getting burned out, and I didn't want to because I liked the job.
Mm,
I didn't like how fast they had us moving on active duty.
correct.
I wanted to take a breath. Come up for air.
Yeah.
I want to come up for air, man. You guys not letting me come up for air. I don't like this. And so I would change and go to the reserve side, and man, did I love that. It was like the right change of pace because not only was I able to do the job that I loved, but I was also able to go to school full time.
Nice. That's
Well, so I told you I wanted to be a computer engineer or a software engineer.
right.
Well, I did kind of the next best thing, and that's called computer information systems. And
Right.
I had a specialization in systems analysis and integration. So I dealt with computer engineers. I
Right.
just wasn't one.
Correct. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
basically what I did.
Exactly.
I'm learning everything that the computer engineer does.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought I was getting a better deal anyway.
Yeah. True.
And so that's what I would study uh, up until, of course, my accident. But I also had my own business.
Mm.
I started my own business, and the name of it was Kiwi Enterprise.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing about the Kiwi thing, that was actually my nickname growing up, but it would also be my call sign in the Air Force.
Mm.
I held on to that name because of the simple fact that my great aunt, who gave me that name, God rest her soul, because she's gone now, but she gave me that name when I was a kid, and
Correct.
the way she would stand outside and call my name and trying to find me, and I would hear that. Wait a minute, that's my aunt. Gotta go, and
Yeah.
I'd take off running
Yeah.
because nobody could call me like she could when it came to that name. When she passed away, man, I had to find some way to let her live on through me.
Correct.
Not just the name in the military, because of course people in the military call me Kiwi. And then you would have Kiwi Enterprise, the business where I did website design and management, social media marketing, and photography. Yeah, and I did that for small businesses because, a lot of people leave out the small businesses thinking that, oh, I'm just going to focus on the Fortune 500 companies because
Yeah.
they got all the money.
Yeah.
That's cool and all, but there are people in small business world who have money too,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know. And so that's the market that I would, I guess you would say, take on. It's the
Okay.
small business market, and it was going great for the time that I had it, the business. And that day, if you want to go to the accident now,
Right.
that day, May 5th, 2017, some may call it Cinco de Mayo, and others may call it now my new life journey, because that's when everything would change for me. I had to actually work for the military that weekend. So
Okay.
that actual day was a day that I was supposed to be going to work that night, though, not that morning. So later on that night, I went to lunch with a friend. Yeah, a lunch with a friend earlier that day. But then I would come home and get my motorcycle because they didn't like my motorcycle. They wouldn't ride with me. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll just go get my car and then I'll get my motorcycle later. And so after I finished up lunch, my goal from what they told me, I was supposed to be going back home to take a nap before work that night.
Okay.
Well, my brain wouldn't shut off. All it kept thinking was, I need to do some work. I need to do some work. I need to do some work.
Okay.
And that's what I did. I went and did work for my business, Kiwi Enterprise.
Okay.
So I was the webmaster for my church. And I noticed on their website, they had all these old pictures of the
Okay.
outside of the church, inside, everything. All this stuff was just old and outdated. I was like, I've got to do something about this.
Right.
Like, I
Right.
couldn't take it anymore. It was like one of those things where you're like, oh, that's a sight for sore eyes, And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. I
yeah, I
know.
would go from my apartment to the church. Now, the distance in between my apartment and the church was maybe like a 10-minute ride on a motorcycle.
Okay.
And for any listeners or viewers out there, the riders, you all know what I mean when I said maybe a 10-minute ride, because usually that's shorter.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
you go just a little bit faster. And so I got there and I was like, there's no way I'm going to put this bike up. It's too short of a ride. And it's a beautiful day outside. I mean, springtime. I don't have any allergies. It was amazing.
Nice.
So I was like, I know where I can go. I can ride to the lake. And so that's what I did. I rode to the lake. And for those who have seen my book or will go click on the link and see my book, on the front cover, you'll see there's a motorcycle. That's my bike. That's Nina.
Okay.
I named my bike.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also named my car, but that's a different story. So I named my bike Nina. You see Nina. Goodbye, Nina. R.I.P. And then the backdrop and the background behind it are trees, dock, a little bit of water, some rocks, and that's the lake I went to.
Okay. It
That
was
was the lake
beautiful.
where I went to after I took those pictures
Right.
at the church. So that was where I would go. And that lake in North Carolina, for all my North Carolinians, is called Jordan Lake.
Okay.
Not a bad lake to visit, but I go to certain areas where it's free to go and sit.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
gonna be here long enough.
Exactly.
so so I went there to sit, and And that's why I always went that spot that you see there on the picture. That's actually a spot where I was sitting. I used my tripod that day and used my remote to take it. But anywho, that was actually where I would go.
Okay.
So the view on the cover was actually where I used to sit and what I used to look at. So y'all are looking at basically a shot through my eyes in a sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when I tell you people need places like that, a place of relaxation, a place of zen, a place of meditation, a place of peacefulness, that was what that place was for me.
Aw.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of why I chose that backdrop. They did their best. I mean, literally the people who taught me how to write a book.
Right, right.
When they saw the cover, they were like, are you sure you want to use this cover? I'm like, you don't understand what that cover means to me.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes people don't understand what certain places might look like just a regular tree or a regular spot or like a
Right.
regular bench in the park. But
Yeah.
when it means something to you, it's only you who knows the value of those
Hmm.
places and the memories that you have and the feeling you get when you visit those places that not
Yeah.
everybody can understand.
Yeah. I was telling him, I was like, you don't understand. I will never see that place again.
Yeah.
I think he acted like he understood what I was saying because it's one thing to be talking to me over the phone about it. But if you would actually see me
Right.
and understand what my body had been through and seen that place that one last time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like, these were the last two moments that I remember. My motorcycle Nina in that spot right there at the lake. Very much so. As I continued through that day, I went to the lake, and from my church to that spot at the lake, it's about a 30-minute ride,
Okay.
which is perfect.
Right. Yeah.
And so I get there, no problems, no problems whatsoever, not even a bug, I don't think. As I'm out there relaxing, now I am literally zoned out. I'm like in a whole nother space, and then I hear a car go flying by. I'm like, oh shoot, what time is it? And I look at my watch, oh, it's time for me to go. I got to go to work. And so I get back on my bike, to head home, grab my stuff so I can shoot out to work or whatever.
Okay.
And as I'm riding, I had with my helmet, I had Bluetooth capability.
Okay.
So I could listen to music, answer phone calls or even listen to the GPS if I needed, guidance.
Right.
And so I'm listening to music because I know where I am.
Exactly.
On this highway there in North Carolina, we got these really tall trees along like in the backwoods areas, which is where I was on this highway 751. And so it's only a 2-lane road. The lane that I'm in going one way and then the lane coming past me. And so as I'm riding, again, this is 2017, and I think, the Bruno Mars, all my Bruno Mars fans,
Yeah.
that album 24 Karat Magic had just came out not too long ago.
Yeah.
And so I'm jamming out. I love that CD. It was pretty dope.
Nice.
Everything was going great until it wasn't, And this is where this car would pull out in front of me, a silver Honda Accord. And as I tell the story all the time, I had 3 options. I could go right and go into the trees. I could go left and go into oncoming traffic, or I could do what ended up happening, and that's freezing up and hitting him. Because what a lot of people don't understand is you could take whatever motorcycle rider course you want to take. You can watch as many safety videos you want to watch. You can study your bike up, down, left, right. It does not matter. Nothing prepares you for that moment because I was in a complete state of shock that a car just pulled out in front of me. It's not like you're on the motorcycle like, oh, shoot, there's a car. Safety course number 1. No, you're not thinking that. You're thinking, why the heck did this just happen?
Right. Right.
And now I'm like in a state of shock. So I froze up, ended up hitting him. And for those who think motorcycles can stop on a dime, I'm here to tell you, they can, but it's not going to be what you wanted. They stop on a dime for mainly 2 reasons. The first one, you locked the front brake up. So now you're flipping off the bike.
Mm.
The second one, you laid that bike down one way or another. I laid the bike down. I hit him, and that means me and the bike are separated.
Right. Right.
Or you fall and you're separated. either way, you're not going to be on that bike anymore. So there was nothing good about this situation. And I'm grateful that I don't remember any of it, because if I did, I would probably relive that nightmare day after day after day after day. And I would not want to wake up to that every day.
Right.
And that's what your mind does. It goes into that, protective mode to not do these things. I mean, honestly, from what I heard about the scene of the accident from police reports and the doctors and everybody else, there were two cars behind him at that same intersection.
Okay.
And they put on the police report as witnesses, eyewitnesses, saying, we saw the motorcycle coming, so we don't know why he didn't. Yeah, it was two cars that were behind him, and both of them said they saw me coming. So they don't know why he didn't. And so when I think about stuff like that, it kind of bothers me, because it's gonna bring up the whole question of, what were you doing? You know what I mean? What were you doing to not see me?
Right.
And make you want to pull out in front of me. So moving along, I would be, like I said, he pulled out in front of me. I would be life flighted to UNC Hospital in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Okay.
Because that was the closest hospital nearby, where I would spend the next 2 months. But the first month, I didn't even know I was in there, because I was in a medically induced coma.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
I
tough.
was in a medically induced coma for the first month. So from May 5th to June the 6th, I lost a whole month of my life. Not too many people can say they did that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's tough.
But I lived to tell the story.
Yeah. I mean, this takes a lot of courage, Kiwan, and I really thank you for sharing that with us and your entire journey. It's not easy. I know you're able to talk about it now and share the story with us, and I'm glad you don't remember the specifics of what happened, but I know that it's not easy at all to come out and share the experience with so many people around the world. But I think that's special though, because you are sharing your story and then trying to inspire other people with what you did despite that accident and how you came out of it. It was so tough. That's what I liked about you and your content the most, is that you didn't let that stop you. For everything that you did before that accident, you just mentioned like so many things, and I'm so glad you got to do all of that. And I think that you're not going to stop anytime soon either. I think you're still going to go. That's what I love the most about you, is that you're still going on. So my question to you is going to be, Q1, how did you find that strength, that motivation? Or most of the people, 95% of the people who go through such kind of incident just give up, and
Yeah.
they're not willing to do anything.
Yeah.
For example, just anybody, you pick anyone, nobody's inspired, everyone's just doom scrolling on the phone, no one wants to do something, and you, despite all the challenges, you overcame that. So what's the secret?
I won't call it a secret. Mindset.
Correct.
You have to have the mindset to want to overcome the situation.
Yes, true.
I actually have a speaking engagement coming up in May 3rd. And it's my annual event, but it's called Will to Overcome. And the reason I titled it that is because WILL is an acronym. It stands for Win in Life's Lessons.
Mm,
And what I'm going to be teaching people at that conference, that event, is how to win in life's lessons in order to overcome adversity.
right.
I'm going to teach them about mindset. I'm going to teach them about the first tattoo I ever got, which is right across my chest here. And that reads, determined to be successful.
Ooh, nice.
That was the first one I ever got at the age of 18.
Wow.
Yeah. At 18, I made that as a statement, not just something cute to have on my body. That was a statement.
Correct.
All of my tattoos means something. Like I have one here on my bicep here that is a lion's head, but what it says at the top, it says breathe courage, exhale fear.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice. Inspiring.
Yeah, exactly. This one, the serenity prayer. I had no clue why I was getting that. But if you know what the serenity prayer reads, it's talking about being able to accept the things you cannot change. I can't change my eyesight, but I'm going to accept it.
Right.
And so when I'm going through all my tattoos, by the way, I got before I lost my eyesight.
Right.
Had no clue why. I'm like, I don't even know why I'm getting that, but I'm going to get it anyway. Like literally no clue. And now people are like, what does that say? Oh, that's pretty cute. This girl, she came up to me and I was in the gym. She saw my tattoo on the one about the lion.
Right.
She said, I just wanted to say, I really like your tattoo. And I'm like, did she read it or did she just like the way it looks? Because it does look cool.
Okay.
I mean, I'll put it on camera for you. It does look
Sure.
cool.
Oh, yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder if she read it. That's what I didn't know
Right.
because I couldn't see her. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, that's what I would say. It's like I said, it's not a secret. We all know about mind, your mindset.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
say cliches such as mind over matter, things like that. You have to, though. It's not a if, and, or but. You have to be able to change your mindset or adapt your mindset. That's a great word too. Adapting. Because as humans, we adapt very well. That's all our body knows how to do. We adapt to good, we adapt to bad. Now, which one you choose, it's on you. It's on your mind.
Exactly. Yes, you are 100% right. So, Kiwan, tell me, how tough was it to get you out of that zone where you're like, I've given up. I had this accident. I think I've had enough. This is how it's going to be going forward. How did you get out of that zone? And when was it when you had that moment where you're like, no, change it. I want to accept this and start talking about it, motivating people and writing a book. And when was this?
So people were telling me
Mm.
what I should be doing. Like they were like, man, you need to write a book. Man, you need to get on a stage and tell this. Man, you need to go in the crowd. Hey, I don't know who y'all think I am, but that is not me. And a couple of years later, here I am.
And you're good
But
at it.
yeah, oh no, definitely. I've studied from some of the best in the world as well. And I'm not just saying that. I really have. For the listeners, if you've ever heard of Eric Thomas, ET, that's what they call him. He's one of the best speakers in the world.
Right.
I've studied from him, man, $10,000 courses. Okay. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so stuff like that. And it's some others out there as well. But anyway, my thought process is when it came to me, because I have had the depressed moments, the suicidal thoughts, I've had it. So you're talking to somebody who's been through, who's experienced it. I'm not just somebody who said, man, you can make it. No. I know you can make it because I made it.
Right. Right.
And so I speak from experience whenever I tell somebody something. And the best teacher in life is experience. And I remember what I used to be, or I remember what I used to do. First off, the in-flight refueling, the
Right.
football. I was an athlete as well. So I played semi-professional football, flag football, video games, computers, jobs, or my own business, and all this stuff that I used to do. Okay, flying around the world. Cool. But when you start to dwell and reminisce on those things constantly, it eats away at you. And so I had to say, hey, we got to get up out of here, man. If we stay in this spot that you're in, life is going to be long. My accident was May will make 8 years since my accident. If I would have stayed in that spot, I would not look like this. I would probably be skinny as a rail, not working out, probably, who knows, could have turned to drugs, alcohol, what I could have turned to a lot of things.
Yeah.
who's to say I would even still be alive? Because I just told you I had suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. Yep. Mm.
I want to be able to touch, if I can just touch and save one life. And I know I have already, trust me, because I've been DM'd in my Instagram. I've been DM'd in my Facebook. They've already told me, thank you for writing this book.
Wow.
You saved my brother's life because he's in the same situation as you.
Right.
He wanted to kill himself. When I hear that, when I read that, that is what I'm doing it for.
That is so lovely and
Yeah.
inspiring. You brought up a good point, Kijuan, where you said you speak from your experiences. And you always, when someone says, oh, you can do it, you are able to tell them, yes, I did it. I was in that position and I did it. And I think that's 100% authentic to me. That's what this podcast was all about. When someone asks me, what are you trying to convey from this podcast? I'm like, I want people to get inspired by stories from real people, like real people and real stories. So if I am talking to someone and if one of our listeners or viewers go, oh, you know what? If he could do it, I could too. Or if she could do it,
Exactly.
then I can too. I mean, that's all I want. And you are a live example, Kiwan, where you've been there, done that, and you've overcome some of the most highly crucial periods of your life where 95% could have given up, but you didn't. And that's just commendable. I think you deserve a huge round of applause and all the recognition that you can get. So I want you to tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit more about what's in your book, Kiwan.
Yeah. Well, I have a lot, but I'll give you two of my favorite chapters of the book. One is embracing and confronting the issue,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one is hurt, heal, let it go. Those were two moments in my life where I talk about, like, when I say embracing and confronting the issue, that was talking about the denial phase, where you're in denial that you're blind now, where you're in denial that your girlfriend at the time ghosted you, literally ghosted you, changed your phone number and everything. Like, what? What just happened?
Yeah.
When you're in denial that people don't want to see you because they can't see you in the way you are now. All they want to do is remember how you were. I'm not dead. Like, that's what you say at a funeral. You don't say that when I'm still living. And when I do make it big, because I know I will. When I do make it big, don't come back around. Don't circle the block, as they say. Oh man, I always knew you would make it. No, 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 no.
Exactly. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do.
And it's not to say that I don't want to deal with people.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with fake people.
Exactly.
Because there's a difference in somebody who was there in my corner versus somebody who's showing up because of what I have now.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that was what that chapter was about. It was about me understanding that if you're in denial, you'll never move forward.
Right. True.
And the second one that I spoke on, the chapter Hurt, Heal, Let It Go, is kind of like a different version of that.
Mm-hmm.
But what it's saying is, yes, I was hurt in this situation physically,
Right.
mentally, and even spiritually. The reason I say spiritually is because that moment I was in the hospital questioning God, why me, why me, why? That is a spiritual hurt because I'm talking to God. I'm not talking to a human. Why did you let this happen to me? And so when you're physically, mentally, spiritually hurt, you have to go through that phase. Don't try to, I'm good, nothing happened, we good, just move on. No, deal with that phase first. I'm telling you, if you don't, it's gonna come back at some point. So you have to hurt, but make sure you heal.
True.
The way I heal is through music, through my faith, through mental therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy. There's a lot of ways to heal. Over time, people heal as well. Give it time. I still remember when my pastor, he came to see me when I was at my grandmother's house.
Right.
You know, that same day I got hurt, he was there, him and his wife.
Right. Right.
I want to play at church. He said, give it time, son. And I'm listening to the voice, but I'm in like a joyful, playful type of mode. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, give it time. And I said, at the time, I'm like, I ain't trying to hear that. I'm coming back to church on Sunday, you know?
Yeah.
Let your body heal. You don't have to rush back to church. And so I had to think that he was saying that not just because he wants me to take my time, but because he knows this thing is way worse than I think it really is.
Right. Right.
He said, just give it time, son. And I wrote about it in the book. So when everybody reads this, you will see this stuff in there that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then the let it go part. Me, since I believe in my faith, my let it go was to give it to God. This hurt that I feel, the remorse, the resentment, the things that I had to deal with when it came to that guy pulling out in front of me and learning how to forgive him for this. God, I need you to help me.
Right.
Take this because I need to move on.
Right. Right.
And that was my way of letting it go.
Right.
And if we have any Frozen fans out there, I hope this song comes to your head. But let it go. Let it go.
Yeah. True. 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 True.
So yeah.
Okay, that was wonderful. I do have one last question for you. I know
Okay, sounds
you
good.
gave us so many tips and amazing suggestions, and you shared your story with us, but I am so interested to know what's next for you.
What's next for me is to keep motivating people, to keep inspiring folks. Honestly, not just other people. I love inspiring myself too because I didn't realize how much the things I do make me smile.
Oh, nice.
Seriously, for example, today at church, I'm on the drums and I'm doing certain. My gosh, if only y'all could feel what I feel when I play the drums.
Right,
It just feels so good that you're in a flow
right.
and you're in a vibe. And I mean, you could probably see it if you look at me because I'm over there rocking with the song, you know, and I'm smiling sometimes. I am over there cheesing with the biggest smile in the world. And I know some people probably have caught me, you know, smiling like that. They're probably, that boy's over there just going crazy. But like moments like that, moments in the gym, when I do something I've never done before, like, you know, a certain weight, I get to a certain weight, reach a goal.
Right.
Those things make me smile. They make me happy. When somebody comes up to me, I don't even know, like, okay, so you know how you can see likes and stuff on Instagram or
Instagram, yeah.
Facebook?
Yeah.
So I never go see who's liked my post,
Right.
but I know there's like maybe 100 or 200 depending on which video, because
Right.
some do get really good likes, but some don't.
Right.
But when I get all these, I'm not going and scrolling and see who liked my stuff.
Mm,
But like today, today at church, one of the guys, I said, hey, Phil, how you doing? He's like, man, I'm doing pretty good. Hey, by the way, that was a cool interview you did the other day. I said, oh, you're talking about the podcast interview? He's like, yeah, that was cool, man. Hey, man, you keep right on inspiring people, brother. You doing good. You're doing good.
nice.
That is what it's about. Because I'm not doing this for me. I want them to see it. So I'm doing this for other people to watch, listen to, be inspired by, get motivated off of. I want to make an impact.
Right.
That's the goal.
Awesome.
It's not to, if I can make, you know, some kind of funds, money, what have you, that's great. That's not what it's about. It's about the impact.
Correct. Correct.
Because that's why I'm still here. That's my purpose, is to tell my story.
Yes. And I think you're doing a very good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kijuan, for sharing your journey with us and your future goals. Keep doing this, and I am now going to be an avid supporter of everything that you do. And the first thing that I'm going to do is go buy your book.
Thank you, Sheekha.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I feel like you deserve all the recognition that you can get. And kudos to you for choosing to put yourself out there and in the world where there are 1,000 things that are going wrong, but you decided to come out with flying colors
Hmm.
and share your story, and you don't want to stop and you want to work towards impacting people with your story. And I think that's very inspiring and very worthy of all the recognition and praise. So congrats
Thank
and
you.
good luck for future, Kijuan. It was a pleasure having you on our show. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I truly appreciate you having me on your platform to tell my story.
Absolutely. Of course, that was the least that I can do. I hope in the future, I know you mentioned a line where you said, I know I'm going to make it big. So I will wait and we'll have you next time on our show when you've made it.
Yeah, and just remind me that I was here before I got big.
Exactly. Don't worry. I will. I will. I will go back to this footage and be like, do you remember that Sunday?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But thank you so much, Kiwan. Again, have a great rest of your day and all the very best to you.
Okay, you do the same.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you have gotten your dose of motivation and empowerment after listening to Q1's story. And I hope you get a lot more from the other episodes. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in and for listening. You know what you have to do. Hit like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget, keep growing, keep glowing, and be yourself. This is your host, Sheekha Singh, signing off. Bye.